I had the privilege of trying out and playing in Loftia's closed beta that ran for 2 weeks, and in this video I'm going to tell you everything that happened, the good, the bad, the glitchy, so you can decide for yourself if you should have this game on your wish list for when it comes out in early access later this year. Hello, my name is Lacon, and welcome back to our cozy little zoo. I've spent about 40 hours playing Loftia during its 2-week closed beta, and I got access to this because I am a Loftia partner, and also since this was a beta, all the footage that you're going to be seeing throughout this video is subject to change. Like, it may not be an accurate reflection of what the game is going to look like when it does release into early access, but this gives us a good idea of what we could be seeing in early access. So the first big question is, what is Loftia? Loftia is a cozy multiplayer MMO set in an eco-futuristic solar punk world where you can build towards a more sustainable future, connect with friends, both new and old, farm, craft, explore, decorate, and create a meaningful impact together, because the things that you do in game will have effects, good or bad, in the world of Loftia. Also, I feel like this is a very important thing to note, as a lot of new cozier games that are coming out are using more and more generative AI in their development and in their graphic design aspects to make their games come to life. Loftia has a strong no tolerance for generative AI within their game, so if that's something that you do not like, you do not have to worry about it. There is no generative AI used in Loftia. They have even urged creators and people in their partner program that to not use generative AI when talking about Loftia. Now, if at the end of this video you do come to like this game and you're like, ooh, I want to play this right now, sadly you can't, because it was only in a short period time closed beta. The closed beta was only open for 2 weeks, and now the servers are shut. You cannot play this game even if you had access to the closed beta, and we won't get access until the game is in early access. But this game started out with just 2 people, and it's grown to a team of around 30 over the course of 3 years. And this beta was a time for a lot of people to get into the game, test it, find bugs, offer suggestions for how the developers should progress moving forward. The main difference between like an early access game that you can play and a closed beta is, one, the closed beta is more limited. Not everyone can get access to it, but for the most part, betas are usually not as polished as early access games, and betas have a lot more bugs and things like that. And while we don't know exactly when it's going to be coming out into early access, the team has reassured us that it will be available sometime this year. So within 2026, we will get back into Loftia, and you will be able to play it as well. But one good thing is, if you didn't get to play the beta, you don't have to worry about feeling behind from any of the people who did get to play the beta, because we're all going to be starting on an even playing field. Even though I've played 40 hours in the beta, I will still have to start from the very beginning when early access comes out. They're wiping everything. This is so that they can easily fix problems that would probably be harder or maybe even impossible for them to fix if they were worrying about making sure people's progress stayed present and up to date. So this allows them to completely change what they need to change and make this game the best it can be. But they have also assured us that once we get into early access, they are never going to wipe the servers again. Now, when it comes to the price of this game, we don't know exactly how much it's going to cost. They have hinted that they are trying to keep affordability in mind for the everyday player, the more casual players, and it will be a single price at launch. And all updates, all game expansions, things like that, everything they add into the game will be free later on. They have mentioned there are going to be some paid aspects inside the game, like in-game transactions, but it's mostly just going to be like a star path or a battle pass like feature And so while we don't know the extent to these paid aspects or how predatory they may or may not be, because in the beta, there was no paid aspects inside the beta, we were able to see some of the features that will be paid, but not exactly to their fullest potential. We can rest easy knowing that no actual gameplay is going to be locked behind a paywall. Now, when it does come out, it's first only going to be available on the computer, so Steam, PC, and I believe Mac, but they are saying once early access has officially come out, they're going to shift their focus on making the game available on the Nintendo Switch. So all you Switch players, all you Cozy Switch players, you will get access to the game. It just won't be as soon as early access comes out. But their main goal at the end of all this is to make this game cross-platform on as many devices as possible. But since they're a small team, they kind of just have to prioritize one over the other. Now for the fun part, which is the game breakdown. What was it like to actually... Oh my goodness. What was it like to actually play this game? Starting off with character customization. They say that this feature is only 70% of the way ready for what they want it to be when it comes to early access. And if I'm being honest, I don't know where the rest of that percentage to make it 100 is going to come into. This is fantastic character customization. And one of the best things is you can access this and customize any aspect of your character, from skin tone to eyes to nose shape to clothing to hairstyles, anything and everything, from literally anywhere. You don't have to go to a mirror. You don't have to go to a dresser. All you have to do is click on the tab that shows like where your friends list is, your quest log, and all that other stuff, and character customization is right there. I did have a few glitches in the beginning with like my avatar facing the wrong way when I very first popped in to creating my character for the first time. So the shadows made it really hard to see what was being customized, and I did want these super cute ice sparkles in my eyes that never really stuck. They never really saved. They would maybe stick around for like 10 minutes at a time. But other than that, the diversity and the amount of choices that we had at the very beginning when you first load up the character customizer for the very first time is completely next level. You have color sliders so you can get your exact skin tone you're looking for. There are so many hairstyles for all different textures and a color sliding wheel for that. And I've just never seen so many unique looks before at the very beginning of a game. Like, all of us were running around within the first like 20 minutes of the beta being open, and all of us looked completely different. We were all able to express ourselves in cute clothes. None of us looked like beginners. None of us were running around in a white t-shirt and blue jeans unless we actually wanted to, which I really appreciated that we didn't have to wait to really unlock a lot of cute clothes, but the clothes we are able to unlock later on are pretty cute. We were able to express ourselves from the beginning, and also they had prosthetic leg options. They had prosthetic leg options, which I think is amazing. That's the type of thing I've only been able to see people get access to via modding their own personal games. So like someone else outside of the game developers creates the prosthetic leg and then adds it as an addition into someone's game. And if you're on console, you can't mod and things like that. So them adding that level of representation into the game from the beginning is a huge deal. So the character customization is getting 5 out of 5 pebbles for me. And I'm excited to see what they do with it since it's currently only at 70%. Like, are they going to be adding more hairstyles, more eye options, more clothing, more prosthetic options, or are they adding just better tweaks to make it flow and act more smooth whenever you're creating your character? I don't know, but I'm excited to see what the extra 30% is going to do for character customization. Now, the world of Loftia. What world are we stepping into? It consists of 3 worlds, where we have the main Loftia City. This is where we enter into the world for the first time. It has the adventure area, the community project area, and then right in the middle of a big dome is the balloon that you're able to go to your house in. It's designed to look kind of like a small city, and you'll get a lot of resources like tires, nails, clay, plastic discards, etc. here. And then we have the Hanging Gardens, which is the second area that you're able to unlock after you get access to your glider. Here you have a community gardening mini game that goes off at the beginning of every hour. You have access to fishing and secret areas to explore and collect resources for cooking like bananas, bioluminescent ivy, rattan, mushrooms, etc. And the large lake in the center and the giant pink tree are pretty much the main focal points of this area. And there may or may not be a secret cove for us to discover, even though it's very frustrating to get over to the secret cove. It was kind of cool when I did actually get over there. And then the last area that we were able to have access to after you progressed far enough in the storyline and you crafted bounce shoes. The gridfall consisted of the museum area, a concrete jungle, a kinetic dance floor, as well as the urbex. The urbex is kind of like a minigame, so sort of, which are behind these blue doors all over the gridfall. And the world looks very much like a rundown and shabby city that's being held together by a lot of tape. The resources you can get here are artifacts, cardboard, and carbon fiber, etc., etc. And then the last kind of area is pretty much your house. It's located on its own floating island. 3 other people are able to live there as well, but they're not like permanent neighbors. It's more like dependent on who's loading into the housing servers at the same time. So sometimes I was alone and all the other 3 areas were empty. Sometimes they were all full, but this also does mean that you can have a floating island with all your friends and people you're in a group with. But that specific part didn't always work during the beta, so hopefully it will be easier in early access to have it to where the people in your group are all on the same island. And also, one of my frustrations was when it came to traveling between the worlds, you do a lot of going through the air tram system, which is pretty much a lot of loading screens. So like, if you're at your house, but you want to go to the gridfall, you have to go from your house through the loading screen to then in Loftia City to the air tram station in Loftia City through another loading screen to get to the gridfall. But if you were at the gridfall, there was a balloon there. There was either the air tram system or the balloon there. And if you went to the balloon, you could go straight to your house. And then if you left again, you could go straight to the gridfall then. But you had to have come from there with that balloon, which kind of makes sense, you know, if it's a balloon, but also kind of not. I would like to be able to just like, if I'm at my house, be able to pick which floating island I want to go to. So that way I don't have to see like 2 loading screens essentially back to back. But overall, the vibe in this world, not just the gridfall, but like Loftia as a whole, it's not just this cute, cozy life sim game. The aspects of being an eco-conscious and solar punk world is woven throughout all the parts of the world and the gameplay. Like when it comes to fishing, fish are pretty much worthless. You can sell them for like one piece of dew, which is 1 gold. No matter the rarity of the fish are worthless. So they're not a good resource for income. So you're not gonna need to overfish the area and quote unquote deplete the waters. I know this is a game and not real life logic, but when it comes to being an eco-conscious game, real life logic kind of makes sense here. Instead, you only catch the fish you need for bundles, and when you take them to the bundles, those bundles, how they act in game are like relocation services. So you're not fishing out a carp just to fish out a carp and put it in this bundle. You're fishing out the carp because those waters are overrun by carp. So you're getting them out of that pond and they'll be transferred to another pond so that way the balance of species and the environment as a whole is more in harmony and things like that. Same with the inventory. And I know people don't like this because us as cozy gamers, we love to gather and hoard resources as much as we can. We're always complaining about inventory space. We're always complaining about how much we can store because we want to just gather it all. We want to always have it on hand for whenever we need it. But your inventory limit in your pockets and inside the chest is 20 per item. Now, you can raise this limit up and increase your holding and storage capacity for various resources in the skill progression tab. But overall, if you were to hoard all those items like mushrooms, jute, etc. in like the real world, they would just deplete the natural resources of the world. And if everyone did that, we would be living in a barren wasteland in no time. So while this may be annoying, this does promote a more eco-conscious mom. Using what you have, you collecting only what you need. Just because you can have it doesn't mean you need it, and respecting the natural world and being more mindful about it. Thinking about, okay, why am I grabbing this? Am I just grabbing it because I need it right now? I need to use it. I have a specific recipe in mind that I'm going to use it for, or I'm just grabbing it because it's there and why not? When in actuality, it's just going to sit in a chest for who knows how long and basically rot. Again, I know this is a game. It's not actually going to rot in Loftia, but those are ways that it makes this game more eco-conscious and more of a real solar punk environment, and not just like, look at all the pretty trees, look at all the cute aesthetic of it all. It actually not just looks solar punk, but it is solar punk. It's actively trying to make a more eco-conscious environment as a whole. So for that, the worlds get 5 out of 5. They're beautiful, they're made with intention, and they're really easy to get around. Honestly, whenever I first would go into a world, I'd be like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna get so lost in here. And then after a while, I didn't really get lost in any of them, except for maybe in the overgrowth. I got a little lost in the overgrowth sometimes. Now, the next aspect of this game is skills and leveling up. There are so many things to do, and you have a total of 9 different skills that you're able to level up. From what I could tell, you can get to at least level 16. I don't know if you can level them up further than that, but that was the last level to really get, to unlock rewards through your leveling to make the skills easier and be able to carry more things or to make things go faster, things like that. It was up to level 16. Out of those 9 different skills, we have community, cooking, crafting, farming, fishing, foraging, repairing, researching, and salvaging. And let's go ahead and start talking about the community one. Community, this one is really tied to the adventures, and we're going to go more in depth in the adventures later on because it's such a big aspect. And so as you level up this community skill, you're going to be able to get more rewards when you do the adventures. You're going to be able to stay longer inside the adventures so you can get more bang for your buck. And honestly, I didn't do a lot with this skill. The next skill is cooking. And you get your cooking station through a NPC named Kun through a quest. And then after that, you're able to get cooking recipes through him and his brother, June. As you level it up, you're going to be able to use less ingredients when cooking your dishes, as well as to carry more dishes and to prep food faster. And the minigame is really simple. Like, it's interesting. When I first saw it, I was like, whoa, what is this? What's going on? But as I started to do it, it was like, oh, this is super easy. You just need to keep your dial in the green section of this circle. And there's a dark green section and a lighter green section and then a red section. The red section makes your progress bar go down, and the green sections make your progress bar go up. And if you're in the light green section, which is really small, it makes your progress go faster, and you kind of want to end in that light green section, which is why it's in the middle of the darker green and the red. And if you end the minigame in the light green section, you kind of get a chance to get double of the food that you cooked. So you definitely want to hit it in there. But I noticed that, like, if you're not in the green, like if you're in like the white part or the cream part, it's not really doing anything. It's not affecting you. So it's not like a stressful, oh, I got to do it in like a minute or things like that. It's kind of really just keep it. I never really had any issues with succeeding in my cooking mini games. The only issues that I ever had with it is it allowed me to cook something and then I wasn't able to pick it up because my pocket was full of that food item. And then I was just cooking a whole bunch of stuff and they were all laying on the ground. I don't want my food on the ground. Gross. And you can level up your cooking station to level 3 and get even more recipes. And while I didn't do too many of the level 3 recipes, there's not many like ingredients that are required for all the different recipes. I think the most ingredients I saw that a recipe would need is like 3 ingredients. And the ingredients may be harder to find, but it's not like you're needing to remember 20 different items. So that way you can cook your summer salad and things like that. The next skill is crafting, and this one kind of encompasses a lot. They say that crafting overall is 80% of the way there, which this just kind of covers all the crafting stations. So you got your project station, you got your refining stations, you have your where you can craft your furniture, where you can craft your clothes, and where you can craft your food. So it's a little confusing on like what levels crafting up, to be exact. If it's like when you cook, you're also leveling up your cooking and your crafting, or what. But I didn't really have an issue leveling it up. I just wasn't always paying attention to what I was doing when it was leveling up. Basically being able to work faster, use fewer ingredients, and save energy. And the main thing with all these skills that I'm not going to keep repeating is one of the main things that you can use your leveling up bonuses for is to level up your inventory. So you're able to hold more and you're able to store more in your chests and things like that. But when you're crafting, you can unlock recipes most of the time by completing research stations that are around the worlds. There were like 3 in the Hanging Gardens, and there was like 1 or 2 in the Gridfall, and they had different recipes, like different things for farming, different things for leveling up your tools, and different things like that. So definitely use those project stations, research stations. Don't forget about them. And then when it comes to furniture and clothing, you can gain more recipes, but also Estelle and Linda, which are 2 of the NPCs in Loftia City. When you talk to them, you can inspire them to make a whole new furniture set or a whole new outfit. Once you have inspired them to do that, which is usually like giving them some lettuce and carrots or some artifacts or things like that, you're then able to craft that item for yourself. One of the main like bugs and like glitches that I had when it came to crafting is dealing with the battery. A lot of the times the battery would say I don't have any charge and so I can't craft anything, but then I would go to my energy station and I would have a fully charged battery. It just wouldn't be registering that I do. And next we have farming, which is probably the thing that a lot of us really like. And farming was one of the best ways to get money in this game. Farming and then turning those crops and vegetables into food. But they have said that they have implemented 70% of what they want their farming mechanics and experience to be in early access. And the NPC you're going to want to talk to when it comes to farming and gardening is Hazel. She's who you go to buy all the seeds. And while you only can start out with 2 little bitty garden plots in the beginning, make sure you go speak to Amani to get more permits. And as you unlock more garden plot permits, you're able to place more garden plots so you can get more gardening stuff, and then you can have a whole garden full of soybeans and sell them off and make bukus and bukus of money. When it came to gameplay wise, the gardening and farming was really nice. The UI only appears when you're holding your watering can, and it had we had garden plots, we also had trellises, we had trees like for bananas and coconuts and things like that, we had beehives, which was really fun, and flowers. Now, the only real issue I ever had was with the beehives, but it was kind of an issue that I was okay with. It never needed to take energy. I don't know if it's meant to take energy to process wild grown flowers and turn it into honey, but I never needed to. So I was able to just sit there and turn all my flowers into honey real quick, real easily. So it was real nice. So I don't know. I kind of hope they don't change that in early access, but I feel like they might. I feel like it was meant to have energy being used to make the honey. If you're wanting to plant a lot of trees, like apple trees or banana trees or things like that, you find those seeds through the overgrowth and like hitting wild banana trees and things like that. When you hit a wild one, you have a chance of not just harvesting the banana itself, but also harvesting a banana seed. So you can't buy the tree seeds from Hazel, but they are really nice when you do grab them. And the trees are different than the garden plots. So even if you only have 2 garden plots, you can also have 2 trees, which is really helpful. And then we have fishing. Fishing is the mechanic that people either love or hate when it comes to these cozy games. And you can unlock fishing through a quest that you complete with Kasim in the Hanging Gardens. As you level it up, you're able to catch fish faster with less effort, hold more in your pocket, and my favorite thing that you could do with the levels up is something called Second Chance. And when you activated that, it allowed you to, in case you missed a fish in the fishing minigame, there was a 30% chance that you'd get a second chance instantly to catch it again. Because if you did miss the fish, all you would get is algae. The fishing minigame in and of itself is you're trying to click the fish when it gets into like the green section of the circle. And as you go, the circle could get smaller and smaller, making it more difficult depending on the level of rarity. If it's a super rare fish, it's going to have 4 rings. A lot of the fish that I ended up catching were like 2 rings. Getting used to this fishing was very interesting. It did take a while because it was so unique. I've never seen any other fishing game mechanic work like that before. As I got used to it, I actually did like it. The only thing that I would like for them to change with the fishing is how close you have to be to the little fishing spot inside the water itself. It feels very much like Animal Crossing, really any of the Animal Crossing games, where you pretty much need to be right on top of that fish in order for that fish to see it. The degree of finickiness that you needed to be exactly on the fishing spot was a little annoying. But the actual minigame was fun. I really liked it. The next skill is foraging, and foraging specifically refers to all the things that you collect with the pruners. And the pruners are a tool that you can craft at the project station, but you mostly use them in the Hanging Gardens. There are little spots in Loftia City and in the Grid Vault that use the pruners, but most of the time, Hanging Gardens is where the pruners are going to be most heavily used. Same with repairing. So the repairing is pretty much only done in the Grid Vault area of the Loftia world, and when you get your wrench, that's what you'll use to repair things with. And in the Grid Vault, you're able to run around, repair like pipes, repair old hydroponic stations. The one thing that I kept doing is I kept getting my wrench and my pruners mixed up, thinking because in the small image of them, they kind of look similar. So I'd be like, why is this not working? It's saying it's not working. What's going on? And then it'd be like, oh, I'm using my pruners right now. I need my wrench. But as you level it up, you'll be able to repair machines faster, carry more items, and also use less repair kits, which is a very, very handy thing because you need the repair kits to repair a lot of the items that need the wrench. So if you want to level up your repairing skill, not having to spend as many repair kits is very, very beneficial. And then we have researching as a skill. Researching mostly deals with artifacts, And this is kind of, at least when it comes to like leveling up the skill and things like that, I didn't really mess too much with the other parts of this skill. I don't know if they just weren't here in the beta or if I just wasn't focused on that aspect of the gameplay, but I didn't really do anything with this, so I can't really help you when it comes to research. But I didn't really have any issue leveling up really any of these. I was able to get to level like 4 or 5 before even realizing what these like proficiency level up pop-ups meant. And that's when I discovered that you could indeed like add perks to your leveling and things like that. There was no necessity within gameplay that I saw that needed my fishing to be at level 5 or my research to be at level 4 or 3 for me to be able to progress in the game. It was mostly just to make the mundane, repeatable tasks like collecting items and holding items and storing in my inventory a lot easier. But the last skill that we have is salvaging, and this is probably the one that I used the most because salvaging has to do with your hammer, and you're able to get the hammer and upgrade the hammer at your project station. So you use the hammer to collect scraps, and that will be kind of the first tool you create. And you'll use it a lot to break down tires, to break down washing machines, to break down pretty much everything in the game. And so leveling up your salvaging and getting a lot of the salvaging perks is where I put a lot of my resources and effort, and I highly suggest you do as well. Also, side note, the hammer animation is amazing. It's wonderful. I got a kick out of watching my little avatar run around and hit things very aggressively. And also, whenever you hit someone else, like another character or an NPC or whatever, they kind of make a little like squish and make a little squeak noise. But overall, the skills and the leveling is intuitive once you realize where it all is. But the overall like function of these skills and the overall like ease of use throughout the entirety of the world, I give it a 4 out of 5 pebbles. I think the things that would make it a 5 out of 5 pebbles for me is an easier way to toggle in between tools and also in between my empty hand. They have like a little fast bar that you can get to, but that just does it toggles between 2 tools and not all of your tools, as well as there's no option to really toggle to an empty hand that easily. And then the NPCs. This world is beautiful, but it's not empty. There's a ton of NPCs or non-playable characters running around as well. And we have 2 different types of NPCs in Loftia. We have, I'm going to refer to them as talking ones, like Pebble the chinchilla, Hazel the gardener, Atlas the museum creator. And these NPCs usually have quests for us to complete. They usually are the ones that have the stores, like Hazel, for us to spend our money at. But there's also non-talking NPCs. Now, you can talk to these NPCs, but you don't really have a reason to. And they're really just there to wander around in a specific section, like go back and forth, to make the world look more alive. And so while there's no real reason to interact with them, every once in a while, they will pop a speech bubble above their head that will kind of give you a tip of how to explore the world or what you can do in this area, which is how I discovered the secret cove. How I figured it out was through one of those little speech bubbles that popped up above an NPC's head. The best way to tell if someone is an NPC or a real person playing the game is by the name above their head. If they don't have a name above their head, or they have like a generic name like Loftian or researcher or something like that, just a generic like overarching title, they're one of the non-talking NPCs. If they had a yellow name above their head, which could have been anything like my name, Lacon's Gaming Nook, or I saw one called like Grand Moth or whatever, just applesauce, whatever. As long as it's yellow, as long as the name is yellow, that is a real person running around in the world. And then the talking NPCs had blue names above their head, and they usually didn't move. They were pretty static and kind of consistent in where they were in the world. Like I could always find Estelle in front of her little area. Same with Atlas or Leela or things like that. They were always kind of in the same place. The only thing I wish is that there were more to do with the NPCs. I love the NPCs. They were great. And I just want more to do with them. I'm not talking about the non-talking NPCs. Those, it makes perfect sense to have them walking around the world to make the world feel more full and things like that. You don't really need more than that. I appreciate the little hints, and that's all they need. I'm specifically talking about the NPCs like Leela, or Hazel, or Pebble, or Milo, and all these others. They have such great character design, such great looks about them, that I want to be able to talk to them more, but there really wasn't any reason to talk to them once I was done with the quest. That was the only reason, whether I was shopping or completing a quest. Other than that, there was no real reason to go up to them unless I wanted to role play and pretend I'm having conversations with these people. And they're all so unique and cool that, like, I wanted a reason to go hang out with Leela. I wanted a reason to go talk to her more, but I'm not going to do something if I don't need to. Maybe every once in a while I'll go over and pretend to have a conversation with Leela, but I'm most of the time not going to. I'm just going to run past her, and she's too cool. Like, over there by the kinetic dance floor in the Gridfall, she's a visually impaired dancer who has created the kinetic dance floors to create energy to power and store within our batteries all over. Or we have June, who loves food and is always talking about how he wants to make sure everyone in Loftia has something wonderful to eat. And they're just so amazing. But, like, I just ran past them so much because they weren't really a part of the main quest, and they only had like one or two side quests for each of them. I give the NPCs a 3 out of 5 pebbles because of that reason. When I did interact with the NPCs, I didn't really have any issues. They were great. They were wonderful. It was just I want more reasons to hang out with them and to talk to them. Now, when it comes to questing, most of the time for these cozy games is more relaxing, and it's not really the main focus of the game. Most of the time we speed through them and just to get them done so you can focus on what you really want to do, what the game is really about, like decorating or farming or collecting things and so on and so forth. But with Loftia, it's kind of different. The main story quests had real purpose and really helped you progress through the world. Like, that's how I was able to level up my my tools and unlock access to all the different worlds and just allow myself to open up more of the game and do more things. But it was also telling the story of what's going on in Loftia, what's happening with these like earthquakes and things like that. Now, the side quests are your typical quest style that we are used to in cozier games, more of like your normal fetch quests. So I'm not going to be focusing on those. It makes sense that those are really just kind of optional. And if you do them, you get a reward, but like it's not that big of a deal. Like, I was able to get some cute like dance moves or a recipe or things like that through those side quests. And they were pretty easy to get through, pretty quick to get through, so I was able to get the thing that I was wanting. But the main quest, like, I was very surprised that there was this much story in the beta. Like, I played for about like 40 hours. I think I've said that before in this video, but pretty much a minimum of that was 9 hours of me working on this main story quest. And I know that the main story is not fully finished. Where it ended off gave us plenty of room for them to expand and continue on with the main story, but I was not expecting it to be that much. But how they ended it is very much leading me to believe that they're going to be putting a lot of effort into their main story quests, and they have a lot of stuff planned, not just for early access release, but also for future updates and releases within this game. Now, I will say, because these quests did require a bit more effort and energy from me, and by that I mean like, it would say, okay, the next thing you do is you need to upgrade your tool, or you need to get these shoes and things like that. And then you would kind of have to figure out how to get these shoes. That's the part that I have a little bit of an issue with. I don't need my hand held when it comes to these quests. I I'm okay with that. But if I'm confused about, okay, how do I get access to these shoes? What do I kind of need to, what direction do I need to be going towards? I would like to be able to click the quest tab to be able to see that information. Be like, oh, okay, I'm going to need these ingredients. Gotcha. This is kind of the direction I need to go. Because there's a few times I thought the direction I needed to go was this way, when turns out I needed to go this way. And so I spent like 2 hours trying to force myself this way, when in actuality, that wasn't possible. And then this way, it took like maybe like 30 minutes. It's bad. It was bad. So it was just like making things way harder on myself than it needed to be. And so just having like a way to make these complex quests not confusing. That's the main thing. You can keep them complex, keep them vast, but just take out the confusing part, because the confusing part is where the stress and frustration is held. And I don't want to be feeling that when I'm playing this game. Because if I can't understand what it is I actually need to do, I can't do anything. I just have to like hope I stumble upon it, or Google, how did everyone else get through this? And as much as I love doing that, as much as I love my wikis, I would really prefer if I didn't have to do that when I'm playing a game. I want to like stay in the world of the game as much as possible. Questing overall gets a 4 out of 5 for me. I just want a little bit better hints if I don't understand what's going on in a quest. That would pretty much make questing a 5. One of the main bugs I did hit through my questing though is sometimes I would have already done something and then I activated a quest for someone to go do pretty much the same thing I had just done, and it wouldn't count it even though it was already in my inventory or things like that. Or after I completed a quest, it would still say over in the side where it's like the quests are pinned to go talk to this person or to go do this thing, and it'd be like, I've already done that. I go to my quest log and I see that the quest is complete and done. It's just still stuck there on my sidebar. Eventually it would go away, but yeah, that was still like a little bug that I experienced during all this that made it also confusing. Be like, oh wait, have I not done this? Yes, I have. It's just stuck there. Now it's time for us to discuss a part that I really, really enjoyed, and that is community projects and contribution bins. This is very unique to this game, and I really liked how much of an emphasis on community that this world has to offer. Specifically, as a player who doesn't play with friends, I had friends playing, but I wasn't playing with my friends. You know, like I knew people who were playing the game, but I was never on at the same time as them. I mostly just run around and do my own thing. But even still, I was able to feel that strong sense of community through these aspects. So whether you have friends or not, I'm not really talking about that part. I'm more so talking about, like, if you play Palia, the community events where everyone tries to craft as much soup as possible over a certain period of time, or right now where we're trying to ride as many miles on our horses as within a certain period of time, kind of like that vibe. But in Palia, there's nowhere to drop off your soup. There's nowhere to like keep track of how everyone's doing. There's nowhere to like really cheer each other on as we all work together on this project as a community. But in Loftia, there is a community project where each day there are 2 different items we need to donate. And depending on how many people donate, that will determine how many days it takes for us to create the community project as a whole. There's a huge spot in Loftia City where you can actively watch this project grow, and it's really big. You can't miss it. It will tell you how many days it's going to take based on the previous records, and you can look at everyone's stats compared to your own stats and things like that. And the items that it asks for vary in complexity. Some things were really easy to get, some things were more difficult to get, and it was a nice solid mix between all of it. And during the beta, we all worked together to create some wind turbines. And at the end of the project, when we did finish it and complete it, we had the ability to create our very own wind turbines and put them on our island and actually use them, which was really, really fun. And then if you wanted to help your fellow Loftians out even more, they had the various contribution bins around the worlds that changed what they were looking for daily, like food and fish, mostly is what I saw. And when you completed one of these daily contributions, whether it was the community project or the contribution bins, you were able to get souls, which is the currency to get exclusive costumes. And this is the part that I believe will be locked behind a battle pass or the premium shop little area that they're doing, from what I'm understanding. But again, I could be horribly mistaken. But I do know that the community aspect of it isn't going to be put behind a paywall at all. Now, this is one of my favorite aspects of this game, and I can see myself doing these bins a lot. Like, I can see myself, if I've finished everything else, still logging on to complete these bins and having fun with it. But one thing I do hope that changes is, instead of just telling you what you need to collect, I hope it also lets you know, like, how you can collect it if you, like, hover over it. Because there was sometimes it was like, you need this recipe. And so I would go around to, like, June and Kuhn to see if they had the recipes, and they didn't. And it'd be like, well, I don't know how to get this recipe. I don't know what I'm doing. And so if I could just hover over it in the little thing and be like, oh, okay, it's just a random drop, I just have to hope I get it, that's fine. And again, I love my wikis. I usually have a wiki for every game that I'm playing open at the same time as I'm playing it. But I do kind of get annoyed with having to click out of the game to go pull up the wiki to see, and, like, doing the whole back and forth song and dance of it all. I would just rather if I didn't have to. And then also, specifically when it came to contributing, say there was an item that needed 10 of that item for you to contribute. If you wanted to get the reward of the amount of souls that you needed, you had to contribute all 10 of those items. But if I only had, like, a limited amount of time and I couldn't donate all 10 of those items, I would like for it to still give me some rewards for donating what I could. It doesn't have to be, like, the max of it. Maybe it can be just a fourth of the rewards in total. In the real world, when it comes to being more, like, community driven and eco-conscious, anything and everything helps. A lot of people forget that if all of us were to donate $1 to an organization, and there's, like, 1 million of us, that's $1 million, versus, like, just 2 people donating $10,000 each. They donated a lot of money, but that's still only $20,000, you know? Because there were some days that I was like, oh, I want to get these rewards. I want to get this specific thing. So I stayed on longer than I probably would have liked. And I don't think you want that in a game. I don't think you want to force anyone to play the game longer. That usually leads to burnout and a little bit of resentment and not wanting to play and things like that. So overall, I'm going to give the community projects and contribution bins a 3 out of 5. I think they're really strong. It's just those, like, 2 tweaks that would make it a 5 out of 5 pebbles for me. Now comes the adventuring zone. So if you remember earlier, we were talking about this briefly when I mentioned how adventures are associated with the community skill leveling. Now it's here. We're ready to talk about it. And they've said adventures are only 40% of the way complete for what they're wanting it to look like in early access. So keep that in mind. But adventures are usually a 1 to 4 person mini event, which you are assigned a certain number of tasks to complete during a 4 to 6 minute time span. And honestly, these are easier to accomplish with multiple people. I only played it by myself, and so it was possible, but I never fully completed it. I never fully did it 100%. I, most of the time, didn't even get one of the things out of the multiple tasks complete. But you get to the adventure zone by getting scrambled coordinates in order to go over there, and the adventures costed 5 scrambled coordinates per round. You can get them through RNG while you're collecting other resources. They'll just randomly drop. So this is one feature that is very much meant for you and your friends. So, like, right now, I can't really say that I'm going to do a lot of these adventures because I'm by myself. But I feel like my thoughts on adventures would probably change later on. A, if I have other people to do it with. And B, it's also only at 40%. So they have a lot of stuff that they're changing and adding or whatever. So if I have a specific reason, I'll do them. But I feel like they'll get repetitive really fast. as well as it was just kind of, you would just essentially in these adventures, what you would do is you would run around this open map trying to find different areas or different items, and you would go up to the item and this one would need a wrench, so you'd repair it with your wrench, and then you'd go over to another one. This one you need to give energy to it, so you would use your energy battery, give it some energy, things like that. And there were also some chests that you could open and pull out prizes from and things like that. But overall, I'm going to give Adventures a 2 out of 5 pebbles. I'm going to have to wait and see. This one, it sounds fun. But probably it's only fun if you have friends to do it with. And there wasn't a way for me to like randomly join up with other people I didn't know. So I always just did them by myself. And then lastly, a thing that I know you're all interested in, because I'm also very interested in it, and that's decorating. Decorating, making our world just as cute as we want it to be. Decorating in this game was pretty good. One thing I loved was you can either craft it or buy it. There's not like specific items, specifically when it comes to like furniture, that it's either craftable or buying. Estelle, our furniture NPC, we could unlock more furniture through inspiring her, and which meant giving her certain types of vegetables or artifacts. And I was able to unlock pretty much all the furniture sets pretty easily once I was like, just wrote down all the different quantities of fruits and vegetables I would need. And then after I did that, the furniture was not that expensive to buy. It was like 50 gold for pretty much everything. So it was really easy to furnish my house. The only thing that is expensive when it comes to decorating is buying permits. So Ani is the permit NPC. She's the one that you go to get more energy things on your property. She's the one you go to get more gardening plots. She's also the one you go to be able to place more items on your island. And those decoration permits, essentially, they go up by 20 each time, like 20 items, to end with a max of 100 items. They say that it's maxed at 100 items for the entire island, not counting like crafting machines and gardening plots and things like that, like just regular decor. They've maxed it at 100 for now because there's 3 other people's houses in that server with you at the same time. And sometimes if you look out, you can see other floating islands with like 4 sets of houses. And they don't want people playing this game to get overloaded by trying to load in everyone else's island. They want this game to be as accessible as possible to people with not as beefy machines as maybe some other people. So hopefully they'll optimize that and maybe we'll be able to have more than 100 items. But for right now, that's the item limit. I didn't reach the 100 item limit mainly because it was expensive to get the permits. I capped at like 60 because the next one was like 5,000 gold and I was like, I'm not there yet. I'm not that rich yet. But the decorations are so cute. My favorite sets were the upcycle set and the graffiti set, and also the fact that I was able to change the outside appearance of my house super easily was really nice. And honestly, the large house and the large island are huge. So much room for activities. The amount of furniture I had, I did not need a large inside of my house, but I got it. And the large island, the same. I did not need that much space, but it was so much fun to run around it. So for decorating, they really thought about all these different decorating styles that you could have. They had Gothic, they had Coastal, they had Upcycle, they had Steampunk, they had Gamer, they had Artist and the Graffiti set and things like that. They really thought about all these different sets, and I'm excited to see what they add more with and more items to decorate. And I didn't really have any issues. The main issue that I did end up having was with like placing rugs, but I realized that later on that was just user error. You gotta place the rug down first, and then you place the furniture on top of it. You can't place the furniture and then try to slide the rug underneath, which, you know, kind of makes sense. I'm definitely going to be giving the decorating 4 out of 5 pebbles. And one of the fun things is you were able to do house showcases. So you could submit your house for other people to go in and view it and vote on it. And it was so fun seeing all these different people's houses and what they were able to come up with, because we only had 2 weeks and some of these people's houses were pretty darn good for just a 2-week time period. Now that we've covered what is in the game, or what was in the game during the closed beta, there are a few things that are going to be available in early access that weren't available for beta. So while I wasn't able to specifically try them out for myself to share how it worked, we will all be able to experience them together in early access. One of the things is owning and taking care of pets. They've already shown us that there's different pets like the capybara, a duck, a turtle, different things like that. And then we have a study cafe where you can go into this building and co-work with friends. It's like a little co-working area. Where also, when it comes to farming, there's going to be hydroponics and aquaponics within gardening systems, as well as more varieties of seeds for us to plant. And there's also going to be a photo mode to take pictures in. I would have liked a photo mode in the beta, but as long as we have it in early access, I'll be happy with it, because I love, like, there were so many pretty areas in this world that I was like, oh, this would be a great photo. And I took a photo. It just also has all the UI on it as well. But those are some of the things that we kind of know will be coming in early access. I don't know if they're going to be there day one of early access, but they're things that they're actively working on that they've felt confident enough to tell us about. You've heard some of my suggestions about this game if you've watched this entire video. But this is just in case anyone on the developers team is watching. This is for you. These are some things that I would love to see in the game. Number 1, I would love to be able to move my house to any location on my island. Like, if I have that large island, if I could just move it to the back or move it to the side or whatever, I would love that. Also, being able to move my mailbox. I would love that, because it was kind of like far away from the house and in a really awkward position. I would like a god mode in decorating, kind of like in Animal Crossing New Horizons, where you can kind of just look above or look around and just place things. I would really, really like that. Another thing is being able to send mail or gifts to other players in the game, whether it's paid items, like if I wanted to give someone the ability to do the star path would be great, but also like just regular in-game items. Like if someone needs some jute, or they need some of this food, if I could be able to gift that to them. Like, say they need it for a contribution bin, I can gift it to them and then it's all good. I would love to be able to do that. And also just being able to send mail to people and be like, hi, how are you? Hope you're well. I would love that. Now, we know where they're adding pets, but we don't really know much about like how that's going to work. So I just beg that when you add the pets, I don't want my pet to be hungry and sad if I'm not able to log on in a few days. I don't want that added guilt. Animal Crossing has that guilt, and Palia has that guilt, where the Animal Crossing villagers will be like, it's been 3 months, where have you been? And I just feel so bad. So it usually takes me a lot longer than it normally would for me to get back into the game and playing, because I don't want to see that sad animation happen from it. Same with the Palia ranching animals. If I'm not on for like a week, which I'm usually not because I don't play it all the time, all my animals are sad and hungry, and it just makes me feel awful. If there's a way for like you to lower their food intake and their happiness only while I'm logged on, that'd be great. That would be great, you know? Also, a way to quickly access a blank hand. There were so many times when I wanted to take a picture of something or I wanted to do something, and I'd be like, oh, my watering can is in my hand. It's ruining the photo. So if there's a way for me to just like quickly toggle it on and off without it taking up one of the 2 slots that allows you to quickly move things in between your hands. The next thing, gliders. Please make them easier to navigate with. I could navigate the level 2 glider really, really well, but the level 3 glider, oh my goodness, I could not use it to save my life. It was the most frustrating thing imaginable. That would be wonderful. The next thing is something that you may already be doing because you only have 40% adventure mode complete, but the option for when you're on an adventure for it to adjust the objectives accordingly based on how many people are in your party. Specifically, there were some times I would go in, I have a list of like 5 things I gotta do, And then like one of those things is something I physically can't do even if I wanted to, because it does require 2 people and I was only in there by myself, you know? So like if maybe that item just wasn't in there because it notices that I'm only one person, and then it maybe doesn't put 5 items, 5 different tasks. It maybe just puts 3 different tasks. So it's still a challenge. It's still difficult to accomplish, but it's not impossible to accomplish by myself. And then if we have a full party, slap everything in there. Give it its all, you know? The second to last thing, more reasons to talk and interact with the NPCs. Maybe give us a friendship bar that we can like gift them things. I don't really want romance in the game. That's not what I'm wanting. I don't think this game needs romance. I just want friendship. I want a reason to maybe talk to them every day, or a reason to like gift them something, or maybe they have a birthday and I can gift them something on their birthday or whatever. Just, I want more reasons to interact with all these wonderful NPCs that are in Loftia. And lastly, when I donate to a bin or the community project, you can have like a goal for the overall day, but I still want some acknowledgement that I helped, even if I only was able to donate like one thing. I don't want it to be like an all or nothing type of experience. Those are all my suggestions. So if you are from the developers team, thank you so much for listening to me. If you can put them into the game, I would love that. I would love that. But if you can't, I understand. You probably have a good reason for it. These are just things that I think would make Loftia more fun and more better, more enjoyable in my eyes. But I'm not the one creating the game, so I'll leave it to you. But overall, my overall experience with this game is Loftia is wonderfully fantastic. I was thoroughly enraptured, and I'm very excited to see where this game goes. I will be picking it up and playing it as soon as it comes out into early access. So yes, I do recommend this game. I did experience quite a few bugs, but I was kind of expecting bugs when it came to this closed beta, because that's kind of what beta means. Now, if this was not a beta, and this was the full release of the game, and we were getting all these bugs and all this like kind of like little bitty frustrations, because there was times when the game would freeze and I would have to completely go out and come back in, more than a normal game should allow. So if that was all the case, I would not be recommending this game. Even though I really enjoy it, I would be saying to get this game at your own risk. But because it was a closed beta, I do have confidence that they will fix a lot of those issues and we won't have as many in early access. As long as they optimize this game and fix bugs, I don't see a reason not to recommend this game. So like if what you've seen by this game and what I've shown you so far intrigues you and all that stuff is taken care of, I highly suggest you getting this game. And I've been saying my ratings out of Pebbles overall. And so the overall rating, the average rating that this game is getting from me is a 3.75 out of 5 Pebbles. But we're just going to round that up. 4 out of 5 Pebbles. And I feel really confident with that rating because I can see the effort. The beta has truly surprised me. I knew I was excited for this game because I just love the idea of a cozy life sim game set in a solar punk world, but the amount of things I could do, and the fact that I did spend 40 hours in this game and I could have spent more because I didn't 100% everything. Because this beta had so much to offer, it tells me that the developers really care about this game and they're not just trying to capitalize on the cozy life sim genre for a quick buck like some other games that are coming out or have come out. It kind of feels like they're doing. This is a vastly thought out game, and as long as they stay this course and don't get distracted by money, they can really make this game something truly special. Now, I would be lying if some aspects like the in-game monetization idea does give me a bit of pause. They have said it won't be the main focus of the game, and it could be as minor and non-intrusive like Palia's in-game monetization, but it also could be as fatigue-inducing as Disney Dreamlight Valley and their premium shop system, or The Sims and things like that. But the thing is we don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like, so all we can do is wait and see and trust that these developers are not going to follow in the footsteps of the games before it that have fallen to the money-hungry greed. So I have confidence and trust in it. So as of right now, before seeing those elements and for only playing the game for 2 weeks, I do recommend this game, and I hope you wishlist it on Steam because that helps their numbers. That helps them get it out there to more people, which the more people who play this game will ultimately mean the more that they're able to add to this game, the more they're able to expand their team, and the bigger and better Loftia can be. So now that we're at the end of the video, I hope you have enough information to decide for yourself if you're going to pick up this game when it comes out. And if you're interested, please wishlist it. I will have a link in the description to the game on Steam, so that way you can easily wishlist it there. But that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you're interested in more Loftia or other cozy life sim games, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a thing. And I guess with that being said, the only thing I have left to say is bye!